You are sitting still, nothing is wrong, the room is quiet, the door is locked, and you are completely safe. And yet something in your chest is tight, your thoughts are moving faster than they should. You keep checking your phone, scanning the room, waiting for something you cannot name. Nothing is there, nothing is coming, but your body does not believe you. That feeling is not anxiety, it is not weakness. It is a 300,000-year-old alarm system that never learned to turn off. Here is what most people never stop to consider. The human brain you are using right now is not a modern device. It is an ancient one. Every reflex, every flash of dread, every sudden surge of alertness when something moves at the edge of your vision, all of it was built for a world where something was almost always trying to kill you. A world of real predators, real darkness, real danger lurking at the edges of the firelight. That world is gone. But the alarm system it built inside you is still running, still scanning, still convinced that the threat is out there somewhere, just beyond where you can see. Scientists have a name for this. They call it the smoke detector principle. The evolutionary psychologist Randolph Ness at Arizona State University developed the idea over decades of research into anxiety and fear responses. The logic is simple and brutal. Imagine a smoke detector in your home. It goes off when there is actual fire, but it also goes off when you burn toast. The false alarm is annoying. But a smoke detector that only fires when it is absolutely certain of a real fire would be catastrophically dangerous. The cost of a false alarm is minor. The cost of a missed real alarm is death. So evolution did not build a cautious, calibrated threat detector. It built an overcalibrated one that fires early, fires often, and would rather scream at toast 1,000 times than miss a single real flame. Your nervous system is that smoke detector, and in the modern world, almost everything looks like smoke. Think about what your ancestors actually faced. For the vast majority of human history, the threats were physical and immediate. A predator, a rival from another group, a sudden drop in temperature with no shelter in sight, spoiled food, an infected wound. These were the dangers that shaped your fear response over hundreds of thousands of years of relentless pressure. Your brain learned to detect them fast, react without thinking, and stay on high alert until the danger was conclusively gone. This system worked. It worked so well that you are here. Every human alive today is descended from people whose threat detection systems were fast enough and sensitive enough to keep them alive through conditions that were genuinely lethal. But that same system is now running inside a body that commutes to work, sits in meetings, and reads the news. Neuroscientist Joseph Ledoux at New York University spent years mapping what he called the low road of fear processing in the human brain. His research revealed something that should stop you cold. When your brain detects a potential threat, the signal does not go to your thinking brain first. It goes directly to the amygdala, the ancient almond-shaped structure buried deep in your brain that handles threat response. And it does this before you are consciously aware of anything happening at all. Your body is already reacting, heart rate up, muscles tensing, attention narrowing, before your rational mind has even registered that something is wrong. The thinking happens after the alarm, not before it. This is why you flinch before you can stop yourself, why a sudden noise makes your heart slam in your chest before your brain has identified what made the sound, why you feel dread about an email before you have even read it. Your ancient brain is faster than your modern one, and it does not wait for permission. The problem is not that this system exists. The problem is what it does when there's nothing real to hunt. In a world with actual predators, the threat response had a natural cycle. Something triggered it, your body responded. You ran, you fought, you hid, you survived. And then the threat was gone and the system eventually powered down. The cortisol flushed out. The heart rate dropped. The muscles released. There was a resolution. There was an end. Now think about the threats your brain is processing today. A difficult conversation you need to have with someone. A financial worry with no clear solution. A news cycle that delivers a continuous feed of crises from every corner of the planet, none of which you can physically run from or fight. A vague sense that your career is not going the way you wanted it to. The feeling that you are falling behind, that something is wrong, that you are being watched or judged or left out. These are not physical threats. There is nothing to run from, nothing to fight, no resolution your body knows how to produce. But your smoke detector does not know that. It just knows something is wrong, so it keeps firing, and the cortisol keeps building, and the alertness never fully powers down. And you sit in a quiet room with a tight chest and racing thoughts, waiting for a predator that never comes. Anthropologist Daniel Lieberman at Harvard University has written extensively about this mismatch between the bodies and brains we evolved and the environments we now inhabit. In his research, he points to something he calls the comfort trap. For nearly all of human history, physical discomfort was a signal of real danger, and avoiding it was the correct response. Cold meant you needed shelter. Hunger meant you needed to find food immediately. Fatigue meant your body was at its limits. These signals were honest and urgent and required action. But the modern world has largely eliminated the real dangers these signals were pointing to, while leaving the signals themselves completely intact. So your brain still treats a stressful email as if it carried the same biological urgency as a predator in the grass. It treats social rejection as if it were a life-threatening expulsion from the tribe, because for most of human history, being cast out of your group was a death sentence. Your fear of embarrassment is not irrational, it is ancient, and it made perfect sense in a world where belonging meant survival. What makes this stranger still is that your brain cannot easily distinguish between real threats and imagined ones. Research by psychologist Matthew Killingsworth at Harvard and Daniel Gilbert at the same institution found that the human mind spends roughly 47% of its waking hours thinking about something other than what it is currently doing, wandering into worries about the future, regrets about the past, scenarios that may never happen. And crucially, their research found that mind-wandering consistently predicted unhappiness. Not because the thoughts were always negative, but because the threat detection system treats hypothetical dangers with almost the same urgency as real ones. When you imagine a worst-case scenario, your amygdala does not fully register that it is imaginary. It begins preparing your body anyway. You experience a version of the fear without any of the resolution. You are, in a very real sense, being hunted by your own imagination. And the modern world has become extraordinarily good at feeding that system. News is designed to trigger threat detection because threat detection generates attention, and attention generates profit. Social media surfaces the most provocative, most alarming, most outrage-inducing content first, because your ancient brain lights up for danger and cannot look away. Notifications are engineered to feel urgent because urgency is what your threat system responds to. The entire architecture of the modern information environment is, in a precise and measurable way, calibrated to a 300,000-year-old alarm system that was never meant to be this busy. This is not a metaphor, it is a mechanism. So what do you do with a smoke detector that will not stop going off? The first thing is simply to understand what it is. Your brain is not broken. It is doing exactly what it was built to do, in conditions it was not built for. The anxiety you feel is not a character flaw. It is not evidence that you cannot cope. It is evidence that you are running ancient hardware in a world that your ancestors could not have imagined. Every time your chest tightens in a quiet room, that is 300,000 years of survival instinct, looking for a threat that the modern world replaced with something it cannot recognize or resolve. The alarm is not wrong. It just does not know the fire went out a very long time ago. And somewhere in your ancient, over-calibrated, extraordinarily well-designed brain, the scanner is still running, still watching the edges of the light, still waiting, still convinced, in the deepest and oldest part of itself, that something out there is hunting you. Nothing is, but your body has not gotten the message yet.